probably heard the term Ozempic or Ozempic Face. With rapid weight loss, you can lose fat in the face too, which is where that term Ozempic Face comes from.
The Met Gala so changed that Who's That Woman started trending within hours. A global pop star openly admitted his weight loss medication may be costing him something he can never get back and said he's still not sure he wants to stop. And one of the most respected actresses of her generation now has surgeons publicly debating what's really happening to her face. These 15 stories take this entire conversation somewhere it hasn't gone before. This is part 3 of a series that keeps going deeper. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now because the research behind these videos is unlike anything else covering this topic. We're starting with the entry that genuinely changes the stakes of this whole conversation. Robbie Williams, one of the biggest pop stars the UK has ever produced, has been completely open about using Mounjaro. But I went up on the Ozempic this week and I had a spray ton and I've got new teeth done for you. He called himself an early adopter of the injections. I began at a very, very early age. After decades of being mocked relentlessly about his weight by the British press, you can understand exactly why he reached for it. He's even admitted that his inner voice has always spoken to him cruelly about his body. For a man who lived through that, the medication must have felt like freedom. But here's where his story becomes something else entirely. In late 2025, Williams revealed that his eyesight has been deteriorating and he believes the medication is the reason. His exact words were, "I don't believe it's age. I believe it's the jabs." He described performing his song, "She's the One," and admitted, "Little do they know, I can't see them." Now, for accuracy, regulators have only flagged a very rare vision-related side effect for a different medication in the same family. So, this remains his personal belief rather than an established fact about his specific prescription. Well, there are potential new dangers linked to the popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs. A group of eye doctors says the drugs might harm vision. But what makes his case so unsettling is what he said next. Even with everything he's experiencing, he's suggested he's reluctant to stop. That's how powerful the pull of these results can be, and that should make everyone pause. If you want to understand how completely normalized these have become in reality television, look no further than Jennifer Aydin. The Real Housewives of New Jersey star delivered what might be the funniest accidental confession in Bravo history. When the Ozempic question came up on Watch What Happens Live, she didn't deny using a weight loss medication. She corrected the brand. Her exact words were, "I am not on Ozempic. I'm on Mounjaro." Okay, Mounjaro 2.5. I'm sorry. I love being this weight. I love it. I am not on Ozempic. I'm on Mounjaro. Okay. 2.5. Like I was sorry this weight I love. Think about what that moment actually represents. The denial wasn't about the medication. It was about getting the details right. That's how far this culture has shifted in just a few years. And to her credit, Aydin has been transparent about the rest of it too, openly confirming skin tightening treatments to manage the changes that came with the weight loss. Because the side-by-side photos from 2022 versus 2025 show exactly what these do to a face over time. The fullness that defined her look is gone, replaced by sharper angles and a noticeably leaner structure that required additional procedures to manage. Aydin's case isn't a scandal. It's a snapshot. This is simply what the new normal looks like on Bravo, where the question is no longer whether someone is on a GLP-1 medication. It's which one, what dose, and who's doing the maintenance work afterward. Scott Disick's confession might be the most honest moment in this entire era of celebrity transformation. "Scott, but we're going to stop losing weight, right?" And the wild part is it wasn't even intentional. After a 2022 car accident left him with a back injury, Disick became sedentary, gained significant weight, and leaned into a softer lifestyle on camera. Then, almost overnight, he reappeared looking dramatically thinner, noticeably so. Fans weren't celebrating, they were worried. Comment sections filled with people asking if he was okay, because the change in his face was so severe that genuine concern outweighed the usual gossip. Then came the moment that answered everything. During an episode of The Kardashians on Hulu, cameras accidentally captured a box of Mounjaro sitting in his refrigerator. "Wow, you're really being healthy. Let me show you this trick." There was no PR strategy left to deploy. So when Khloe Kardashian confronted him about it on FaceTime, Disick did something refreshingly rare. Everybody that's got a problem with Mounjaro could, and by the way, they can see me now because for a minute you couldn't. He owned it completely, saying, "By the way, I'm not embarrassed that I took it. By the way, I'm not embarrassed. No, I took it. You shouldn't be." He even posted a parody video joking about the whole thing afterward. But here's the layer worth sitting with. Medical commentators have pointed to Disick as a textbook example of what happens when rapid weight loss outpaces what the face can handle. And even his own family's reaction on the show revealed something uncomfortable about Hollywood's mindset. Nobody questioned whether he should be on it. The only question was how well it was working. That silence says more than the confession did. Emily Simpson's story adds a layer to this conversation that almost nobody else talks about, and it's arguably the most important one. The Real Housewives of Orange County star was refreshingly honest from the start. She explained on Jeff Lewis Live that her doctor recommended an injection, so she took it. "So I went to the doctor. I did a full blood panel. I had my cholesterol was high. I have 0 testosterone. I was pre-diabetic." She actually said, "Why don't you do a semaglutide, which is Ozempic?" So I did. I did that in December. Her review was simple. It worked amazingly. The weight came off. The transformation happened. And her before and after photos from 2022 to 2026 show a face that changed dramatically, moving from naturally full and rounded to sharply defined. But then she did something most celebrities never do. She quit. And her reason is the part worth hearing. She said the medication made her feel lethargic, drained of her natural energy in a way she wasn't willing to live with. Here's the detail that completes the picture, though. The rapid facial changes from the weight loss reportedly led her to a lower facelift to manage the effects around her jawline. So, follow that sequence carefully. The medication worked, the face deflated, the surgery fixed the face, and then the medication got dropped, but the surgical result stayed. Celebrity dermatologist Dr. Paul Jared Frank explained the underlying mechanics to CNN, noting that once patients in this age range lose 10 or more pounds, that deflated look tends to follow. Simpson's case is the full life cycle of this trend compressed into one storyline, and she's one of the only people willing to narrate every step of it. Margaret Joseph's is the blueprint. If you want to understand the complete pipeline, no one has documented it more openly than the Real Housewives of New Jersey veteran. Dealing with stubborn weight retention in her menopausal years, Joseph's turned to GLP-1 and praised them on national television for finally shutting off what she called the food noise. The weight came off quickly, and just as quickly, the structural consequences showed up in her face. Here's where Joseph separates herself from everyone else on this list. Instead of denying the deflation or quietly managing it, she embraced the correction publicly and completely. She openly documented undergoing a deep plane facelift, a neck lift, and a full dental overhaul with porcelain veneers, essentially rebuilding the structure that the rapid weight loss had compromised. Her own words sum up her philosophy perfectly. She proudly declared, "I am a walking filter." You have to respect the honesty, even if the implications are unsettling. Because what Joseph's has really done is show the public the actual price tag of this transformation era. The injection is just the entry fee. The real cost comes afterward in surgical interventions that exist specifically to repair what the speed of the weight loss leaves behind. Some fans praised her transparency. Others quietly mourned the relatable, imperfect persona she used to have. Both reactions are completely understandable. Jennifer Fessler's timeline is the one that made even her own castmates do a double take. The Real Housewives of New Jersey star arrived in the 2023 to 2024 season with an entirely new face and body. And unlike most of Hollywood, she didn't pretend otherwise for a single second. She openly admitted to using GLP-1 weight loss injections. She acknowledged the rapid weight loss had left her with sagging skin. And then she explained exactly what she did about it. A deep plane facelift, a neck lift, a rhinoplasty, a facelift. Mama June Shannon's relationship with weight loss has played out in public for over a decade, which makes her GLP-1 chapter feel almost inevitable in hindsight. The reality star had already been through a gastric sleeve procedure back in 2015. I will do whatever it takes. I mean, you can't see the scars. I mean, they're up underneath. You know what I'm saying? You can see them. She lost a dramatic amount of weight. I have packed on like about 120 to 130 pounds. So I decided that I wanted to take the route of going with semaglutide and then regained roughly 100 pounds over the years that followed. I have gained like 100 pounds. I want to try to lose this weight, and it's been really hard. So, when the new generation of weight loss medications arrived, the question was never really if she'd try them. It was when. What makes her case interesting is the arc. She initially distanced herself from the trend, then came clean in 2025, admitting, "I've been on weight loss medication. I was first on semaglutide, which is like Ozempic." She revealed she'd lost around 30 pounds in just 9 weeks, a pace that fans immediately noticed in her face. Comment sections lit up with reactions to how dramatically smaller she looked. But then came the twist. She quit cold turkey. And her explanation might be the most grounded statement anyone on this list has made. She said, "It's a stepping stone, but it's not a fix-all, be-all." Coming from someone who has tried nearly every weight loss method available over 20 years of public life, that's not a throwaway line. That's hard-earned perspective. Even her daughters have publicly weighed in on the conversation, making this a genuinely multi-generational story about how families navigate this new era together. Kelly Ripa's case is fascinating for a completely different reason than most entries on this list. Because here's the thing about Kelly. She has spent her entire career being openly, almost obsessively disciplined about fitness, daily workouts, strict routines. She's also been transparent about cosmetic treatments she actually does, openly discussing Botox and microneedling over the years. She's never been someone who hides the maintenance, which is exactly what makes the current speculation around her so revealing. Throughout 2025, Ripa's increasingly slim frame and sharply defined jawline drove repeated waves of online commentary. Fans flooded her posts with messages like, "Lay off the Ozempic," and genuine questions about whether she was okay. Others defended her just as forcefully, with one writing, "Who cares if she took Ozempic?" To be completely clear, Ripa has never confirmed using any GLP-1 medication. And given her documented decades of intense fitness discipline, her transformation may be exactly what it appears to be, the cumulative result of a famously rigid lifestyle. But that's precisely the point worth sitting with. We've now reached a stage in this cultural moment where even a woman with 25 years of publicly documented workout obsession cannot get thinner without the label attaching itself automatically. The medication has become the default explanation for every changing body in Hollywood. And once that assumption settles in, no amount of treadmill receipts can fully shake it. Vanessa Williams might be the single best example of how to handle this conversation with grace. And her case proves that honesty genuinely changes how the public responds. The legendary performer, the first Black Miss America, will be the new Miss America and the winner of a $25,000 scholarship, Vanessa Williams, Miss New York. A woman who has navigated public scrutiny her entire adult life gave a cover interview to Hello magazine in January 2026 and simply told the truth. At 62, she revealed she'd been on Mounjaro for 2 years. Her framing was disarmingly straightforward. She said, "It's a game changer. When I turned 60, I was like, I want to be here for a long time, and I want to look my best." No deflection, no mysterious wellness routine taking the credit. Just a direct answer from a woman who decided the speculation game wasn't worth playing. And the public response proved the strategy right. One of the top comments under her announcement read, "Admitting you're on Mounjaro is the best thing you could do. Good for you." Now, transparency doesn't erase the physical reality. Side-by-side photos against 2023 show noticeable changes, including the loose skin along the neck that has become the signature marker of rapid weight loss at her age. The transformation is visible, and she knows it's visible. But Williams' case stands as the honest admission anchor of this entire list. When you own the story before the internet writes it for you, the conversation becomes about your choice rather than your secret. More celebrities are slowly learning that lesson. she got there first. Serena Williams is arguably the greatest athlete of her generation, which is exactly why her admission landed harder than almost anyone else's. This is a woman whose entire life was built on physical discipline most humans can't comprehend. Decades of elite training, 23 Grand Slam titles, a body that performed at the absolute peak of human capability. And in 2025, she told Vogue she'd lost 31 pounds using Zepbound, a GLP-1 medication, later updating that number to roughly 34 pounds by early 2026. And I've been really open about me being on GLP-1s. And I thought it was really important just to come out and say it. So I'm on a GLP-1 through Roe. Her reasoning cuts straight through the biggest stigma in this conversation. She said, "A misconception is that it's a shortcut. I just couldn't get my weight to where I needed it to be." Stop and absorb that for a second. If Serena Williams, with her training history, her resources, and her legendary work ethic, couldn't move the number through effort alone, what does that say about the millions of ordinary people being told they just need more willpower? That's the cultural weight of her admission. Now, there's an insider layer worth knowing here, too. Her announcement came through a partnership with the telehealth company Roe, where her husband, Alexis Ohanian, is an investor and board member. So, her openness also sits inside a commercial arrangement. That context matters, and it's fair to hold both things at once. Her honesty moved the conversation forward, and it was also quite literally good business. Megan Thee Stallion built an empire on her curves. The name itself, Stallion, is a direct reference to her tall, statuesque frame. Her entire hot girl brand celebrated a body type that mainstream Hollywood spent decades ignoring. And for millions of fans, that representation was personal. So, when she appeared at the 2025 Vanity Fair Oscar party, looking dramatically slimmer, the reaction online was immediate and intense. One writer described the internet taking a sharp, audible breath. Here's what's confirmed. Megan acknowledged losing 30 pounds, going from 178 to 148 by April 2025. And she credits a documented regimen she calls Hottie Boot Camp, roughly 90 minutes of daily cardio, HIIT, and Pilates combined with clean eating. She told Women's Health she's in the best shape of her life. She has never confirmed using any GLP-1 medication, but the speculation machine doesn't wait for confirmation. Media personality Joe Budden publicly suggested Ozempic was involved, and TikTok filled with breakdown videos debating her transformation frame by frame. What makes her case so layered is the brand tension underneath it. When your public identity is built on celebrating a specific body, changing that body reads to some fans as a betrayal of the message, even when the work behind it is documented and real. Megan has the receipts. The workouts are filmed, but in this era, receipts compete with assumptions, and assumptions usually win the comment section. Mindy Kaling's transformation carries an emotional charge that most entries on this list simply don't have because of what she represented for over a decade. During The Office and the Mindy Project years, Kaling was one of the most visible voices pushing back against Hollywood's narrow beauty standards. She wrote about it. She joked about it. She built genuine cultural capital as the woman who succeeded without shrinking herself. Fans didn't just enjoy her work, they felt represented by her existence in those rooms. That's why her roughly 40-pound transformation has generated such a complicated response. The changes became a red carpet conversation starting at the 2023 Oscars and have intensified through every appearance since, with commentary focusing on her dramatically leaner face and the taut lines along her neck and jaw. Kaling firmly denies using any medications. She credits running about 20 miles a week and weight training. "I am not getting ready for anything. I'm not going to be in any kind of show punishing myself with 45 minutes of running, and you had to hate it the whole time." Telling one interviewer, "I wish there was something more juicy, but that's the way I've done it." She's also framed it around protecting her long-term health for her 3 children, citing a family history of diabetes. That's a deeply sympathetic motivation, and it deserves to be heard. But the speculation hasn't softened, with one surgeon telling the Daily Mail it was likely that medications played a role in her red carpet preparation and fans writing things like, "Ozempic claims another champion of body positivity." Whatever the truth is, the grief in those comments is real. People aren't just reacting to her body, they're mourning what it meant. The 2025 Met Gala produced a moment that nobody in fashion saw coming. A legendary designer arrived on the carpet in oversized sunglasses and a dramatically different look. And within hours, "Who's that woman?" was trending. The woman was Vera Wang, 75 years old, one of the most influential designers in bridal history. A person whose face has been photographed at every major fashion event for 4 decades. And suddenly, the industry that knew her best couldn't immediately place her. To be clear from the start, this is a speculation case. Wang has never confirmed using any weight loss medication. She credits weightlifting, cycling, and golf for her physique, and she's been famously consistent about disliking conventional cardio. But the visual change was dramatic enough that plastic surgeons publicly weighed in, with Dr. Gaurav Bharti telling the Daily Mail that in already slim patients, additional noticeable weight loss can leave the skin looking deflated and lax, which matched what observers were seeing in her face and neck. The fan response leaned heavily toward genuine worry, with comments expressing concern for her well-being and hopes that she was being looked after by a physician. And here's the honest complexity. Some observers believe her case has nothing to do with medications at all, which is entirely possible. What her moment proves is something bigger. In 2026, any dramatic change in any famous face gets processed through a single lens first. The era has rewritten how we see everyone. Cynthia Erivo is one of the most gifted performers of her generation. A Tony winner and Oscar nominee, the powerhouse voice at the center of the biggest movie musical franchise in modern history. And during the back-to-back Wicked press tours, she also became the unwilling centerpiece of the most intense body conversation of the entire awards season. It started at the January 2025 Golden Globes, where her custom Louis Vuitton gown revealed a dramatically thinner frame than fans had ever seen. By the November 2025 premiere of Wicked, for good, the conversation had grown into a full cultural flashpoint. Erivo has never confirmed or denied anything, and that distinction matters. So, let's be precise. This is speculation amplified by surgeon commentary in the Daily Mail, where Dr. Dennis Shimps noted she looked dramatically different through her shoulders, and Dr. Sue Decodius observed she may have lost too much weight. The online discourse split into camps debating medications versus the immense pressure of carrying a global franchise on her back. But the most revealing words came from Erivo herself in her book, Simply More, written about a lifetime of